Do you feel it coming? It's that time of the year again. Halloween is here and it's in Spanish. Hey kids, I know you love Halloween as much as I do. The pumpkins, the candy, and not to forget about the scary costumes. I love the yearly dose of ghosts, mummies, vampires, and witches knocking on my door. But do you know that kids in Spanish-speaking countries also celebrate Halloween? Have you ever wondered how to say pumpkin in Spanish? What about cauldron or sorcerer? Today we'll learn these and many other Halloween words in Spanish. But before we start, I just want to remind you that we post a new video every week. And if you don't want to miss any of them, click on that bell, like this video, and subscribe to our channel. Remember, bell, like, and subscribe. That's it. Now we're ready to get into the spooky Halloween Spanish words. Let's start with one of the main symbols of Halloween. Pumpkin in Spanish has a very funny name, la calabaza. Now, think about a scary witch brewing a magical potion in her cauldron. That's one of the most iconic images from Halloween. In Spanish, witch is la bruja, and cauldron is la caldera. What else does a bruja need? What about a hat? There's no witch who respects herself without a hat. And what else? I know, a broom. Well, in Spanish, hat is el sombrero, and broom is la escoba. So if you're wearing a costume this coming Halloween, make sure that it comes with all the necessary elements. Witches are great costume ideas, but that's not the only option out there. Actually, just like we see in the Harry Potter books and films, there are many options for everyone to do magic. What's the other word for witch we could use? A sorcerer. In Spanish, sorcerer means el brujo. Did you notice how similar the words bruja and brujo are? You just have to change the last letter depending on the gender. Bruja is a feminine word and brujo is a masculine one. It's time to explore a few other scary characters. Who can you think of? The mummy, la momia. The vampire, el vampiro. The ghost, el fantasma. The monster, el monstruo. The zombie, el zombie. That last one's pretty easy, right? Now let's talk about animals that we associate with Halloween. Can you think of them? I know, a black cat. In Spanish, we say el gato negro. What about a bat? El murciélago. A spider? La araña. And the spider web is called la telaraña. The next one is not exactly an animal, but I think we can add it here. The werewolf is called el hombre lobo. What about a dragon? That's easy. El dragón. I can't think of any other animals. So let's move on to fantasy and scary characters, such as trolls and ogres. A troll in Spanish is el troll, which is basically the same word. I'd like to wrap this section up with two more classic Halloween characters, the giant and the scarecrow. In Spanish, giant translates into el gigante, and scarecrow sounds beautiful in Spanish. El espantapájaros. Wait, I'm forgetting the most important word, Halloween. Although in some Spanish-speaking countries, such as Mexico, people celebrate Day of the Dead, or Día de los Muertos. They also celebrate Halloween, but they call it Noche de Brujas. And by now, you should already know what bruja means. Now, that's been intense and scary. Let's take a little break to remind you how important and great it is to learn Spanish. Ask your mom and dad to sign you up for a free class with one of our super cool native Spanish-speaking teachers who would love to celebrate Noche de Brujas, or Halloween, with you. All your parents need to do is click here and sign up. They don't need to make any payment, and no credit card is even required. It really is that easy. It's time to learn some spooky adjectives that people use when talking about Halloween in Spanish. Let's start with a word that I like a lot in English, wicked. In Spanish, wicked is malvado. Now think of a sinister vampire. In Spanish, sinister is siniestro. It's time for one of the most scary Halloween images, a haunted house. In Spanish, house is casa, while haunted is embrujada. This means haunted house is la casa embrujada. Can you think of any other spooky adjectives? What about frightening? In Spanish, frightening is aterrador, ghostly, fantasmal, creepy, escalofriante, evil, malvado. And the scariest of them all, dead. In Spanish, dead is muerto. Okay, enough adjectives. Let's learn a few verbs now. In Spanish, gritar means to scream. Embrujar is to haunt. And espantar or asustar means to scare somebody. And the funnest part of Halloween, to dress up. In Spanish is disfrazarse. Let's think now in some decorations and other elements we all need to have a happy Halloween. For example, candies. In Spanish, candies are los dulces or los caramelos. What about the bag where you put all the candies you get? Bag in Spanish is la bolsa. For decoration, candles always come handy. In Spanish, we say la vela. You'll need a good lantern to go out at night, chanting trick or treat. In Spanish, lantern means la linterna. And there can be no real Halloween without a little fake blood. In Spanish, blood is la sangre. In recent years, decorations have become quite interesting, and it's become very normal to see coffins and corpses decorating houses and schools. In Spanish, coffin translates as el ataúd, while a corpse is el cadáver. And now that we got started on this topic, how do you say graveyard in Spanish? El cementerio. And graveyards are full of tombstones or lápidas. I'm getting a bit scared now. Too many spooky words everywhere. Just kidding. That's the cool thing about Halloween, right? That we can talk about this kind of stuff and have a good laugh about it. Before we go, I still have some good Halloween words in Spanish that I want you to learn. Skull in Spanish is el cráneo or la calavera. Goblin is el duende. Skeleton in Spanish is el esqueleto. And shadow is la sombra. Mask is la máscara. And costume is el disfraz. The famous trick or treat translate as dulce o travesura. And finally, autumn is el otoño, and October is octubre. Wow, that's what I call a useful crash course into Halloween Spanish vocabulary. I hope you liked it and learned some interesting and spooky words about Noche de Brujas in Spanish. Practice your new words, and perhaps next Halloween you can invite your Spanish-speaking friends over or visit a Spanish-speaking country and enjoy this scary Halloween there. Did you like learning about Halloween in Spanish? What other holidays in Spanish would you like to learn about? Leave a comment below and tell us which is your favorite holiday and why. And I promise to make a video about that holiday in Spanish. Deal? Also, if you know some Halloween terms in Spanish that we didn't cover here, feel free to share them with us. I'm sure you will help many other kids watching this video. If you want to keep in the scary mood, watch this video about monsters in Spanish. It's pretty spooky. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next time. Adios! I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and click that notification bell to never miss the best Spanish content on the web.